Imagine, for a moment, that you are the guardian of an ancient temple. This temple is not made of stone or wood. It is built of something far more precious. It is built of your time, your energy, your peace, and your spirit. Inside this temple, there is a sacred flame. This flame is your life force. It is the source of your creativity, your love, your ability to solve problems, and your will to endure hardship. When the flame is high, you are unstoppable. When the flame is low, you are barely surviving. Now ask yourself this question: who holds the key to the gate of your temple? Most of us live with the gates wide open. We treat our lives like a public park. Anyone can wander in. Anyone can trample the grass. Anyone can leave their trash. And most dangerously, anyone can come close to the fire and drain its warmth. We believe that being a good person means being accessible to everyone, all the time. We confuse availability with kindness. We confuse a lack of boundaries with generosity. But a temple without gates is not a sanctuary. It is a ruin. And in every life, there comes a moment of necessary ruthlessness. A moment where you look around at the state of your inner world, the exhaustion, the confusion, the constant noise, and you realize that the damage is not coming from the structure itself. It is coming from the visitors you have allowed to stay too long. Today, we are going to speak about the art of closing the gate. We are going to identify 6 specific types of people who, often without malice, but always with consequence, are slowly extinguishing your flame. And we will learn how to revoke their access. Not with a shout, not with a fight, but with the quiet, unshakable dignity of a guardian who finally understands the value of what he protects. The first visitors we must address are the ones who consume. They do not enter your life to share. They enter to feed. You know them. You feel them before you even see them. The atmosphere changes when they walk into the room. Consider the one who is permanently in crisis. We often call them the perpetual victim, but we must look deeper than the label. This is the person for whom suffering is not a season. It is an identity. They are addicted to their own storm. You, being a person of light and empathy, your instinct is to help. You see their pain, and you offer solutions. You offer a ladder to help them climb out of the hole. But have you noticed what happens? They do not take the ladder. They look at the ladder. They complain about the rungs. They tell you why the ladder won't work. And then they invite you down into the hole with them. They do not want to be saved. They want to be seen. And more specifically, they want your energy to validate their helplessness. This is a biological hazard for you. Neuroscience tells us about mirror neurons. When you sit with someone in deep, repetitive negativity, your brain naturally tries to harmonize with them to show empathy. You literally begin to vibrate at their frequency. If you spend an hour trying to fix someone who is committed to staying broken, you do not pull them up. They pull you down. You leave that interaction feeling heavy, drained, and foggy. That exhaustion is not physical. It is spiritual. It is the cost of leaving your gate open to a draft that never ends. To walk away from them is not an act of cruelty. It is the only way to ensure you have enough strength left to help those who actually wish to climb. And closely related to this drain is a more subtle, deceptive figure. The one who steals the oxygen from the room not with sadness, but with self-obsession. You know this person. They ask you, "How are you?" But they are not listening to the answer. They are waiting for you to pause so they can shift the spotlight back to themselves. This is the conversational narcissist. In their presence, you feel invisible. You become a supporting character in the movie of their life. They treat you not as a human being with your own complexities, dreams, and struggles, but as a mirror. Your only function is to reflect their image back to them, to applaud their victories, to validate their grievances. This interaction is treacherous because it mimics friendship. You are talking, you are spending time, but there is no exchange. A true connection is a loop of energy. Give and take, speak and listen. With them, it is a one-way street. You pour your attention into a black hole, and nothing ever returns. Over time, this erodes your sense of self-worth. You begin to shrink. You stop sharing your news because you know it will be ignored or trumped by their bigger news. You learn to be small so they can be big. This is a profanation of your temple. Your attention is the currency of your life. Where you spend it matters. To revoke access to these people is to reclaim your right to exist, to be heard, and to take up space in your own reality. But these are the obvious drains, the ones who demand attention loudly. As we move deeper into the sanctuary, we find the visitors who are much harder to detect because they often come disguised as friends or even protectors. The enemy standing outside the gate with a sword is easy to spot. You can prepare for him. You can lock the door. But the betrayal that cuts the deepest always comes from within the walls. It comes from those you have already invited into your inner circle, believing they were allies, only to discover they are carrying a hidden blade. As you guard your flame, you must become vigilant against the subtle poison of the passive-aggressive critic. This is not the person who openly insults you. An open insult is honest. You know where you stand. This person operates in the shadows of language. They use humor as a weapon. They cloak their envy in the disguise of concern. Listen closely to the words they choose. When you share a new ambition, a dream that excites you, do they light up? Or do they offer a smile that doesn't quite reach their eyes, followed by a question that plants a seed of doubt? Are you sure you're ready for that? It sounds like a lot of pressure for someone like you. That's a great idea. Almost as good as the one your friend had. I'm just joking. Don't be so sensitive. These phrases are not innocent. They are precision strikes designed to lower your status while maintaining their deniability. If you confront them, they will gaslight you. They will say you are crazy, that you are imagining things, that they are just looking out for you. But your body knows the truth. Pay attention to how you feel after sharing good news with them. Do you feel celebrated? Or do you feel the sudden need to defend yourself? Do you feel the joy leaking out of the moment? This person is not protecting you from failure. They are protecting themselves from your success. Your growth shines a light on their stagnation, and they cannot bear the glare. They need you to stay small so they can feel comfortable. Keeping them in your circle is like trying to run a marathon with stones in your pockets. You might finish the race, but you are carrying unnecessary weight that will exhaust you long before the finish line. You do not need to fight them. You simply need to stop giving them the ammunition of your vulnerability. And then, there are those who are not driven by envy, but by a profound shallowness. These are the visitors who love the warmth of your fire, but vanish the moment the wood needs to be chopped. We call them the fair-weather tourists. Life moves in seasons. There are seasons of harvest, of sun, of celebration, and there are seasons of winter, of loss, of struggle. The fair-weather tourist loves your summer. They are there for the parties, the successes, the easy laughter. They consume the fruits of your labor with a smile. They are easy to be around. They are charming. But watch what happens when the temperature drops. Watch what happens when you lose the job, when the relationship ends, when illness strikes, or when you are simply in a period of deep, quiet confusion. They disappear. Their phone goes silent. They are too busy. They offer vague platitudes from a distance, but they do not show up. And when the sun returns, as it always does, they return with it, acting as if they never left, expecting to share in the new harvest. This betrayal is painful because it makes you feel used. And in a way, you are being used. You are being used as entertainment. To them, you are not a friend. You are a destination. They visit you to feel good, and when the destination becomes difficult or demanding, they simply travel elsewhere. You cannot build a fortress with people who flee at the first sign of rain. Real connection is forged in the fire of shared struggle. The people who deserve a permanent place by your hearth are the ones who stood with you in the cold, who helped you carry the wood when you were too weak to lift it alone. Revoking access to the tourist involves a painful realization. The company they provide is not worth the loneliness you feel when you realize, in your darkest hour, that it is better to sit in an empty room and know the truth of your solitude than to sit in a crowded room full of people who are only there for the champagne. As you begin to clear the temple of these subtle saboteurs, you will find the space becoming quieter. But there is another layer to peel back, perhaps the most difficult of all. Because sometimes the people holding you back are not toxic, they are not malicious, and they truly believe they love you. But they are in love with a version of you that no longer exists. The hardest gate to close is not against the enemy who wishes you harm. It is against the friend who simply wishes you to stay the same. As you ascend the mountain of your own potential, as you work to purify your mind and strengthen your body, you will encounter a profound resistance from those who have known you the longest. We call this person the historian. They hold the archive of your past. They know who you were 10 years ago. They know your mistakes, your foolish phases, your old limitations. And they love that version of you. In fact, they are addicted to it. When you begin to change, when you start eating differently, speaking differently, aspiring to things they cannot see, they do not congratulate you. They get uncomfortable. They look at you with suspicion and say the words that are meant to be an insult, but are actually the greatest compliment you can receive. You've changed. They say it with a tone of betrayal. You're not the person I used to know. You think you're better than us now? You must understand the psychology behind this. To the historian, your evolution is a threat. Your change disrupts the predictability of their world. If you can change, if you can rise, it forces them to ask a terrifying question. Why haven't I? By growing, you are inadvertently holding up a mirror to their stagnation. So, unconsciously, they try to pull you back. They bring up old stories to remind you of your place. They try to force the butterfly back into the cocoon because the caterpillar makes sense to them. But here is the biological truth. You are not a statue. You are a process. Every cell in your body regenerates. Your neural pathways rewire with every new thought. To remain exactly the same is to defy the laws of nature. It is a form of death. You cannot apologize for your evolution. You cannot shrink yourself to fit into the box of someone else's memory. To stay connected to the historian, you have to pretend to be someone you no longer are. You have to act out a script from a movie that ended years ago. And the energy it takes to maintain that mask will consume the energy you need to build your future. You can love them from a distance. You can honor the shared past, but you cannot allow their nostalgia to become your prison. And alongside the historian, there is one final, heavy anchor that keeps the ship from sailing. It is the person who is not malicious, not critical, and not stuck in the past. They are simply comfortable. This is the mirror of mediocrity. These are the good enough people. They are the friends who are perfectly content with a life of low vibration. They have no desire to push themselves, to learn, to create, or to challenge their limits. Their life revolves around comfort, entertainment, and the weekend. There is nothing inherently wrong with them. They are often kind, gentle souls, and that is exactly why they are dangerous to a warrior. If you are surrounded by people who are walking, you will never run. If you are surrounded by people who are content with the bare minimum, your own fire will begin to cool. We are social creatures. We regulate our biology to match our tribe. It is a phenomenon called social contagion. If your circle's idea of a good time is getting intoxicated and complaining about work, you will eventually find yourself doing the same, simply to maintain the bond. The mirror of mediocrity normalizes stagnation. Being around them feels like sitting in a warm bath. It is soothing. It is easy. But if you stay in the warm bath too long, your muscles atrophy. Your will softens. You begin to believe that your ambition is too much, that your discipline is obsessive. You look at them and think, well, they are happy. Why can't I just be like them? But you are not them. You have heard the call for something more. You have felt the flame inside the temple demanding to burn brighter. To deny that call for the sake of fitting in is a violence against your own spirit. Walking away from the mirror of mediocrity does not mean you judge them. It does not mean you think you are better than them as human beings. It simply means you recognize that your paths have diverged. You are climbing a mountain, and they are picnicking in the valley. You cannot carry them up the mountain, and you cannot stay in the valley without suffocating. As you gently close the gate on these 6 types of people, the drainers, the saboteurs, and the anchors, you will find yourself standing in a new kind of silence. It can be terrifying at first. You may look around your temple and find it almost empty. The noise is gone. The drama is gone. The constant validation is gone. And in that silence, the ego will panic. It will scream that you are alone. It will tell you to open the gates again just to fill the void. But this is the most critical moment of the protocol. This is where the true guardian is born. So, how do you close the gate? How do you execute this separation without becoming the very thing you are trying to escape? Bitter, dramatic, or toxic? Most people make the mistake of the grand announcement. They feel the need to explain, to justify, to tell the other person exactly why they are leaving. They write long texts. They have exhausted arguments. They want the other person to understand the pain they have caused. This is a trap of the ego. You are looking for validation from the very person who is incapable of giving it to you. You are trying to teach quantum physics to someone who does not believe in gravity. The guardian does not announce the closing of the gate. He simply closes it. The most powerful way to revoke access is through the art of benevolent detachment. It is not a war. It is a withdrawal of energy. You stop initiating. You stop fixing. You stop explaining. When they demand your attention, you offer politeness, but you do not offer your essence. You become like a gray rock, uninteresting, unreactive, and impenetrable. Without your energy to feed on, the drainers, the saboteurs, and the narcissists will naturally drift away. They will seek a new source. You do not need to push them out. You simply stop holding them in. But as they leave, you will face the final enemy. It is not them. It is the voice inside your own head. The voice of guilt. Society has conditioned you to believe that good people are always available. That loyal people never leave, no matter how toxic the environment becomes. When you close the gate, you will feel like you are being cruel. You will worry that you are abandoning them. You must reframe this immediately. You are not abandoning them. You are rescuing yourself. You are not rejecting their humanity. You are rejecting their access to your sanctuary. You can wish them well. You can hope for their healing. You can love them from a distance. But you cannot allow them to burn your house down simply because they are cold. Your first duty is to the flame. Because if your flame goes out, you are of no use to anyone. Not to yourself, not to the world, and certainly not to the people you are trying to save. And then, the silence will come. For the first time in years, perhaps in your entire life, the temple will be quiet. The constant drama, the complaints, the subtle digs, the weight of other people's expectations, it will all vanish. In the beginning, this silence will feel like loneliness. You might feel an urge to fill it, to run back to the noise because the noise is familiar. Do not run. This silence is not empty, it is fertile. It is the void spoken of in Taoist philosophy. It is the empty cup that can finally be filled with fresh tea. By clearing out the people who were draining you, you have created a vacuum. And the laws of the universe dictate that nature abhors a vacuum. By removing the vibrations that were keeping you low, you have created the space for new vibrations to enter. This is the law of resonance. You could never meet the people who belong in your future. The mentors, the true allies, the fellow warriors. because your space was too crowded with the ghosts of your past. Now the space is open. Now the signal you are broadcasting is clear. You have reclaimed your time. The hours you spent managing someone else's crisis are now yours to build your body. The emotional energy you spent defending yourself against a passive-aggressive friend is now yours to build your business. The mental bandwidth you wasted on gossip is now yours to study, to meditate, to create. You are no longer a public park. You are a fortress. You are a sanctuary. And the fire in the center of your temple is beginning to roar. The gate is closed. The air is clear. The sun is rising over a landscape that belongs entirely to you. You have revoked their access, but in doing so, you have granted access to the one person who has been waiting outside for a lifetime. You have finally granted access to yourself. So, as you stand in this new, powerful silence, do not ask, "Who will I be without them?" That is the fear talking. The question, the only question that matters for a guardian of the flame, is this: with your energy restored, with your vision clear, and with your power finally your own, what great and necessary thing are you going to build next? Gratitude.